The Narcissist, Reading You, Part 3. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor, explaining how narcissists read you, but also how, amongst the lesser and to some extent mid-range narcissists, their inability to read you is based upon a number of factors that I'm explaining for you, and also what arises from that to help you understand why your relationship with the narcissist is so problematic. These problems with reading people will often result in the narcissist feeling threatened. The narcissism will convey a view of the other person to underpin that they are threatening control, so that the narcissist is motivated to do something about it. The narcissist sees the individual as one who's seeking to sabotage the relationship. The response is one driven by paranoia. The narcissist finds that the person wasn't aware of what the narcissist had planned because they're not able to read their minds. People who honestly explain that they were unaware of what the narcissist planned or what their expectations were are simply dismissed as liars. The narcissist is unable to conceive of the fact that anybody has anything in mind other than them. The narcissist has an all-encompassing egocentric mindset that is expressed and articulated and is perceived by adult human beings, that, as I explained in part 2, is really more like the mindset of an infant. As I explained, that in a household, a newborn very much controls that household. Everything revolves around that baby and its needs. The baby knows of its own existence, but they're not self-aware enough to realize that they're a person, or aware of their needs of things that are understood only through feeling them. The baby recognizes of their need for food as a consequence of the discomfort caused by being hungry. A baby does not think, oh, I'm hungry, I need food, so I need to cry to ensure that somebody knows what that is. They simply cry because their stomach is empty, and their body causes them to feel discomfort, and that discomfort causes them to cry in a particular way, so that the caregiver hears that particular cry and, through a process of trial and error, works out that the fact that that cry means that they're hungry. They will also, of course, work out it's X number of hours since the child was last fed, and therefore are able to work out the needs of the baby because the baby itself doesn't know. That baby can't articulate its own needs. The baby is entirely reliant on the provision of care from that caregiver. And in effect, that baby acts in a way where it takes for granted that the world will know what its needs are. And that not only that the world knows what those needs are, but they will be addressed. They must be addressed by those other individuals, and therefore the baby has no ability to conceptualize anything other than itself and its needs and its existence, and therefore ultimately learns that if those needs are not attended to, then those caregivers are neglectful, untrustworthy. This reliance on people who automatically recognize what the child needs and also then address them develops because there is that need for survival. The narcissist doesn't move beyond those assumptions. The narcissist has no empathy, has no self-awareness for the consideration that other people exist outside of themselves. They simply, like that baby, continue to read people as being solely responsible for what they require, but also for knowing what is required, and therefore the narcissist fails to articulate this in a meaningful fashion because it expects people to guess. It expects people to know. The narcissist takes for granted that people will understand automatically what the narcissist needs, and in so doing, when they read people, they read them as failing to recognize something that the individual cannot work out, and therefore read their lack of response as not one of confusion, but one of not caring. They don't read that failure to respond as one born out of bewilderment and not being certain of what is required, but simply that they don't give a rat's ass about the narcissist. And thus, that skewed reading through the narcissistic lens causes that narcissist to view that person as a threat to control. They regard it as an intentional slight against the narcissist. The narcissist is not able to read people and reality test their responses against the same reality of which that person exists in, because the narcissist operates with an alternative reality. The other people don't see this and don't understand it. Of course, my work then provides them with that knowledge. The narcissist does not develop through reading people to understand that one is not always right all of the time, and that the information and the evidence and the reality does not always agree with how you feel or what you think. Of course, there are some individuals that operate that way who aren't necessarily narcissists, but narcissists as a whole are governed by what their reality is. And when they read people's responses which don't accord with their reality, they don't think to themselves, well, there could be an alternative outcome. They're not capable of such reflection amongst the lessers and the mid-range. And instead, their response is, this individual is not responding in the way that accords with my reality. Therefore, they're untrustworthy, they're hostile, they're a problem. This, of course, takes place in the subconscious, because that is the way that the narcissism regards them, for the purpose of reading that individual to ensure thereafter that the narcissist responds in the appropriate fashion to nullify the threat to control. The narcissist is not there to entertain the prospect of being wrong, because that means that there is a threat to control. If somebody is trying to convince the narcissist that they are wrong, the narcissist simply reads that as a threat to control. The narcissist does not ever contemplate, wait, could the evidence show that I am wrong and this person is right? The narcissism just doesn't allow that to occur. The narcissist in such circumstances operates on the basis that their assumptions equate to knowledge, but they don't recognize them as assumptions. Their assumptions are knowledge. This is only seen by the non-narcissist, who thinks to themselves, they're assuming that what they believe is a fact. They see that the feeling is a fact. They infer things into something which ought not to be inferred. But trying to explain that to a narcissist is futile, because all the narcissist will do is read your attempted explanation as an attempt to negate what they see as fact, that what they see as evidence. When you explain you're making an assumption that's not evidence, all the narcissist reads into that is, you're telling me that I'm wrong when I know that I'm right, because this is my reality. When you try to explain that feelings are not facts, the narcissist does not accept that. And again, you are read as being hostile, that you are in the wrong. The result is that the narcissist is repeatedly told that they are in the wrong, when actually you are the one that is in the wrong. You have jumped to conclusions. You are the one that believes that you can read things correctly. And the reading that the narcissist places upon that is that you are the hostile one, and you are the individual that is actually engaging in a deliberate attempt to harm the narcissist. This then creates the reading of more evidence that the narcissist should not trust anybody, because everybody is bad. The narcissism allows the narcissist to imitate and mimic, deny and deflect and defend against criticism, anything that threatens control, whereupon most things end up being read as a threat to control. The narcissism, of course, is entirely geared to deal with this way, and whilst you might think that this would sound exhausting with regard to the way that the narcissist would behave, in actual fact, it isn't. The narcissist also, when reading an individual, seeks out information and perspectives that elicit the feedback that fits with their perception. The narcissist honestly does not believe that they ever need to check their own reality, because it is their reality. Why would they need to do that when their reality is the correct one? Narcissists, therefore, are created to seek information that will confirm or promote a narrative or a belief that they already have. And, therefore, if, for instance, they believe that they are a champion, they will seek out information that accords with that. And if their reading of your behaviour does not accord with supporting their view that they're a champion, then you amount to a threat to control. With certain narcissists who have a rampant victim mentality, they operate with a narrative or belief that they are the victim, and therefore they will not only speak and talk about in the way that they are, but they will also seek out information to confirm that that's what they are, that they are the victim of someone's unfair behaviour. And again, if their reading of you is that you are supportive in that way, you are deemed to be good and painted white. But if you try to demonstrate that you're the victim and the narcissist is the aggressor, then the reading of that is that you become a threat to control. If the narcissist receives feedback which does not conform or confirm with that narrative, then it will be either rejected or reinterpreted to fit the narrative. And therefore, in the way that that occurs, you are read in a manner whereby what you state will either be jettisoned or reinterpreted in a way which fits with the narrative that the narcissist requires. The more evolved narcissists are not hampered with these difficulties because of their ability to read individuals and to use it in a way that they know that their narrative is correct, and they're able to shape the evidence to support that. Less evolved narcissists struggle in their initial reading of individuals, and that is why that you find that relationships with lessers in particular, but also mid-rangers to a degree, are more problematic, because those type of narcissists are less able to read their victim in a way which is not problematic. In a way, the lesser and mid-range narcissists read their victims to see problem after problem after problem after problem. With the greater and the ultra, it is less so. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.